Right. Oh yeah, you are? Yeah, I'm alright. Are you?
Yeah,
Go on. Put it closer, that's fine. Yeah?
No offence to the old boy, but right, don't need no publicity. I took the box years ago.
Hey?
Take up the snaps.
Okay.
Camera's good, Hayley?
Yeah, thank
Lovely.
you.
Sonia alright? Okay, Carlo, with you then.
Nigel, first of all, can I just ask you about what happened last night at the Spurs Stadium with Eric Dyer? What did you make of those scenes?
I haven't really spent a lot of time looking at it, but just saw it very briefly today. Not really a lot for me to say at the moment. I mean, what's the actual question?
Do you think it's becoming more of an issue in football, the amount of abuse that players and managers are getting from the stands? Do people feel they can say what they want and get away with it inside football grounds?
I don't know whether that's a generalisation, but I think it would be wrong of me to overly generalise on a question like that, because I think it would be fair to say that most of us managers or players have had something aimed at them at some point, but I think it's a dangerous thing to overly generalise on that. So I don't specifically know what the circumstances were last night. Yeah, briefly saw images, but the one thing that struck me straight away was the number of people rushing to film it on their smartphones. So I think that's indicative of where we are. So until I know what not that I need necessarily to know about it. I think obviously it's a situation which will be looked into, investigated, and really apart from that, I can't comment any more on the specificity of it.
If it happens to you personally, or
Well, you know what happened when it happened to me.
something that you've learned from, or
No, not really. Learnt from? No, it just happens, and yeah, these things happen. But I would like to think that it's doesn't. I think these things happen from time to time, and like I say, I don't. You've asked me to comment on that, and I don't really know what's happened there. So outside of that, but it's obviously very clearly distressing for the individual.
just turning to the performance against Liverpool, do you think if you carry on playing like that for the rest of the season, you'll definitely stay up?
I believe we'll stay up, is the first thing to say. We've worked very hard to get into a competitive situation, and we've had some very good performances, some very good days. We've had some days where we've not quite been at our best. What I want us to always do is be as competitive as we can and have the intent when we go on the field to reproduce our best performance. And last week, yeah, we were able to do it, and I thought we played very, very well, and got a fabulous win. But you know, straight after that game, really, the mood in the dressing room was clearly elated, but the players were very clear to make the point that you know, I heard it said a couple of times, these aren't the games that we need to win. So their understanding of our situation is pretty clear, and I like the fact that they're aware that we have to find the level of performance every time that we play. So simple answer to your question would be yes, but the reality of reproducing your best every week is not always easy. But providing I see the right sort of efforts and the commitment to do that, then yeah, I think we've got a really good chance of staying up.
And what kind of challenge do you think you face on Saturday? Really a totally different test.
Well, they've got good players, and Roy's teams are very well set out. I think they've, as a football club, they've, from being in real difficulties when Roy took over, I mean, they've been able to get some level of stability, and I think that's very, very important. So we know it will be a very tough game for us, but it's also one which I'm sure they would be saying similar things. It would be, the corresponding fixture at our place was a 0-0 draw, but in terms of the actual game, it was one in which I think both sides were trying to win it. It wasn't a game where it was a boring game of chess. It was two sides committed who, on the day, nullified each other. But it will be a tough game for sure.
And what do you make of the career that Roy has had? Do you think he gets the credit that he deserves for what he's done over the years?
Well, he's had such a varied career. I would think the simple answer to that would be yes, because his contribution in the game throughout the world is very well recognised. When you consider, he's managed extensively in Scandinavia, in Italy, with the Swiss national side for a number of years. He's multilingual. He's an English manager who's travelled very, very extensively and been successful. So, all those things considered, I think he's had an incredible career.
We've seen more British managers in the Premier League now for quite a few years. It seemed that it was very difficult for any British coaches to get a chance in the Premier League. Why do you think that's changed?
I've got absolutely no idea, really, if I'm honest.
Fashion or just...
Possibly. It could be a number of different factors. I think it would be quite reasonable to assume that if the ownership of a club is of a certain nationality, that their preference might be for a coach from a certain type of background. I think that's pretty reasonable to suggest, or it could be. I can't speak for how clubs decide to choose their manager or their head coach or whatever they want to call the top football position, whether it's based on a vision that they have and a philosophy that they want to work towards is one thing, but I just know and have always known that there are plenty of talented English coaches, British coaches. Possibly we need to try to travel a bit better ourselves and explore different avenues for ourselves a little bit more.
Finally, for me, how much of a blow is it losing Gerard Deulofeu for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's disappointing because he's been one of our really good performers. He's certainly been a match winner on a number of occasions. Very creative player, and so he will be a miss. But our thoughts now are to make sure that first and foremost, when he does have his surgery, that is successful, and then it's about planning his recovery there on in. But in the meantime, the players that we have available just have to make sure that we, or they, or we together, do the job that's required.
And how long do you think he'll be out for?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, at this point, prior to the surgery being done, I can't give you an indication. But yeah, I mean, I think normally these types of injuries, 5-6 months, something like that. But I couldn't really tell you at the moment until the surgery's done.
Right. You want to ask on camera? Yeah?
No, it's already.
Off camera. Yeah, any other broadcast questions then?
Yeah, just one. Are you taking any precautions as a club over the coronavirus?
I've got-
Yeah, we've already made a statement on that, so I think you know
I
that.
don't think Sonia got that one. I've got a briefing note here.
Yeah.
I'll give you. Okay. Sorry, we missed you.
Yeah.
Okay, Hayley, that'll do then.
Yeah.
Forecast. Yeah, lovely. Will you guys, Stanley?